Hello, everybody, and thanks for watching. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But I wanted to use this as a great example to start with because I've heard so many videos and I've seen so many people post videos about how they want to empower the black community, and I think this right here is the start. And this is hard because not everybody believes the same things, not everybody believes in one another, and not everybody has the same backgrounds, comes from the same places, feels the same way about political issues, and it goes on and on and on. So I think trust is earned, and it's more about what you show people rather than what you say. So I believe that even outside of the black community, just people in general have to have trust that they've experienced something from someone, a level of the willingness to accept that I can be vulnerable. I can rely that this person is real. So trust is a person's willingness to accept and or increase their vulnerability by relying on implicit or explicit information. Trust equals acceptable uncertainty. So even though you may not know a whole lot about that person, it's what they show rather than what they say. So I feel like this is a vulnerable time for most people, even people who aren't black. You know, you've got all these political and social issues that are coming up, and a lot of times when people are afraid, they're more vulnerable because they've had like maybe one or two bad experiences and it didn't go well, or they had good experiences and it went well, or they have no experience whatsoever in it. So like you see, for example, these people right here, they're working out, they're acrobat artists, and in order for them to do this, they have to trust one another. So they've seen each other, they know each other is athletic, they know each other is, safe, that they can trust that, okay, you won't let me fall. So trust is earned, respect is given, loyalty is demonstrated, and betrayal of any one of those is to lose all three. So there's levels of trust. Trust is one word, but there are many other entities that go along with it, and it's what you do in your everyday life that earns that trust. Honesty, consistency in your behavior, openness, sensitivity, being fair, being optimistic, the ability that you can trust that person, praising the good, sincerity, transparency, openness, consistency, keeping real with your words. Don't take it personally. Be honest, remain competent, be reliable. Don't confuse trusting with liking, be fair. So there's several different levels of trust, and those things don't come easy. They don't come overnight, and they don't come within a few weeks. A lot of times people have to trust you in order to get a loan. You have to apply for a loan, and you have to show that you are prepared to pay that loan back. And so it's not what you say, it's what they see. You have a job, so that shows you have income and you can pay the loan back. But not only that, having a job and having the money is not enough. They have to see that you have a track record showing other things that you have borrowed money from and paid back. So that's one way of showing that, okay, we can trust this person. They show that they have a track record of paying something back, or they're reliable in this area. Maybe they need work in another area, but they're reliable for the most part. Same thing with paying bills. They see you have a consistency with paying bills. It may not be easy, but you're able to send in something. So even with people's ability to bond with one another, I hear a lot of talk about the black community, and you have a lot of these people who hone in on the fear of people not knowing people from other backgrounds, their lifestyles, and what have you. if you have a different belief, if you have a different religion, or if you have a different spouse or a different sexuality, or if you come from a different country. There's so many social issues that have come up that have built on people's fears. And a lot of these people who feel like, oh, this is an opportunity to make money. I can sell books. I can create a beautiful PowerPoint and some lectures, and I can make money, and I can have people listen to all the things that I say, and I'm a good public speaker, and I can stroke egos, and I can either build the fear, or I could create unity, or I could create more fear and confusion. But in the meantime, I'm more concerned about myself, so I'm going to make money off of people's fears. So a lot of times that's what happens on these websites and on these social media forums. You'll have people that will say all these things that build people up, and it either works to do good, or it works to make more confusion and more fear and build more stereotypes and harm in communities that won't cause a community to progress forward. It'll cause more havoc. It'll cause more confusion, more stereotypes, more anger, more protests, more riots, more fights, more explosive hate crimes. And so this is what we're dealing with here in America. So a lot of times people will hone in on people's insecurities, their fears, their uneducatedness about a subject or a subject matter if you're not aware of, Muslims. If you're not, you don't know anything about the gay community. If you have a fear of people from certain religions, or people who don't have a religion, who have rejected religion and they're atheists, and you have all these fears, and so people, they hone in on that, and then they take that and they write books about it. You can have intelligent people that'll do this, but they see it as a money marketing scheme so that they can build on their own profit and for the betterment of their own self, because this is the time we're living in. So, you have all this hate among different genders and people. People will talk about people, how they look, whether they're fat or they're skinny, they have curves, or their body type, and they'll put people down. People have different opinions, what they like or dislike. And so a lot of times they post all these things to, build an audience. And you have to be a good public speaker. And sometimes it takes skill to speak in front of an audience. It's not easy to speak in front of a room of 100 or more people. Some people have the gift of gab, and they're able to put together a PowerPoint. They're able to constructively and concisely put together an essay and read and go over and over and over and over it until they've got the lecture down in their head, that they've drilled it down so good that they can just speak without having papers before them. If they do have papers, they might want to refer back to some important point. But basically, they're using it either for the good or for to build more fear, more harm, more confusion in a subject matter. And they're not really helping communities when they do that. If it isn't anything positive behind it, it's just for lining of their pockets and building up their income and making them wealthy, rather than helping put money into the communities. And a lot of times people will attempt to do things, but they're not really good at carrying everything out. And so they'll attempt many times, but they don't have enough support because that issue of trust has not been earned. And again, there's a difference between expressing opinions and just being flat out rude. And some people, they may have good ideas, but they're rude. They're hurting others. Even though they say, oh, we want to build up the black community, but you're putting women down. You're putting other social groups down because you have the fear. And now you're creating more fear in other people who already probably they had that fear, but you're building on more fear. That helps no one.